Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Continue. Okay, another. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Everyone please. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
थोड़ा आगे लगाना पड़ेगा या जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन बल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जनरंजना जय ब्रज जनरंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जन रंजना जय ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तेरा बनचारे जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन बल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोदरक्ष श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रीला भय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन विविध संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोदरक्ष श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य शिल हरदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, गंगा माई जमुना माई की। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की। इस्कॉन सिलिकॉन वैली मंदिर की, ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaurang. Volume. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So welcome to all the devotees to this evening satsang at San Jose ISKCON at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra and what is it? Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu's house. So we are inside your house, you are outside the house. So अपना ही घर समझो बाबा. So today I'll speak on the purpose of Vaishnava Association. Why does society need satsang or temples, spirituality? Because the main focus in today's day and age is on economic development. And people wonder, why do we need spiritual gatherings? How do spiritual gatherings or spirituality or religion or holy places or temples or any of this add value in society? They are supposed to be creating peace, but we see that more often than not, religion becomes the focal point for most of the conflicts and challenges and misunderstandings. So, do we need actually temples? Is spirituality helping society or creating more trouble? So, that's an important topic of discussion. So, to begin with, just to give, since majority of you I see are from India, you may not know how many hospitals India has, around 70,000. And I'm sure you don't know how many temples India has, 2 million. So to begin with, there is a huge market for temples, greater than hospitals. And interestingly, in the last 3 years of COVID, many businesses closed down. Not a single temple closed down without a business plan. Which means that there is a market, there is a need, there is a reason why people do connect. But if they connect with the right understanding, then the benefit they get from this connection will be greater. And therefore, different institutions provide different kinds of solutions. Like if you go to the hospital, you are provided solution to the pain related to the body. If you are feeling hungry, you go to a restaurant. You want to buy something, you go to a mall. So connected to different institutions and buildings, you know what service is being provided. But when it comes to a temple, what service is a temple providing? What difference is a temple making to you in your life? Is there a real-time problem you are going through today which is taken care by in a temple from a practical perspective? So therefore, when it comes to a temple, you ask 100 people why you are going to temple, you'll get 100 different answers. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita explains very clearly why temples and spirituality exist in the first place, and therefore Krishna chose the battlefield and the drama to enact via Arjuna in the battlefield. So therefore all of us experience, apart from eating, sleeping and mating, the fourth principle is fearing. And Prabhupada says eating, sleeping and mating have limited time in a day. But fearing is something which goes on 24/7. And therefore, is there a solution to fear? To provide a solution to fear, you must understand the cause of fear. So the Gita is describing in the very first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that the root cause of all fear is change. Any change is responsible for creating a feeling of fear in our hearts. And therefore, all of us, if we look back at the various episodes where we have gone through anxiety and fear, if we see our current experiences of fear, or if we think about the future, any change and possible change puts us through a feeling of fear. Therefore, in such a scenario, Arjuna was tested by Krishna by putting Arjuna through a sudden change. Because Arjuna was ready to fight Duryodhan. But when Arjuna was brought in front of Bhishma and Drona, there was a sudden change. And Arjuna was not ready to kill his grandfather. He was not ready to kill his own teacher. And interestingly, Arjuna had the swabhava of a Kshatriya. He had the swadharma of a Kshatriya. He had the nature of a Kshatriya, and Arjuna had the occupation of a Kshatriya. And therefore there was no confusion in Arjuna's mind regarding his nature and occupation. Because in today's time, even to match nature and occupation is a big challenge. Right? One devotee in ISKCON, before joining ISKCON in the 60s, he was drafted into the Vietnam War, and when he was sent to the battlefield, he said he was absolutely terrified of battle and weapons. He had no nature of being a fighter. And when he went on the battlefield with his friend with guns, they were attacked with bullets, and his friend got hit by the bullets. He fell on the ground, and he looked at him, he's dead. Now he got terrified that next bullet is going to hit him. He picked up his dead body of his friend and placed in front of him, saying that if the next bullets come, it will hit him, not me, I'll save myself. And then he took his friend's dead body to save himself and went back to his own camp. And when he put the dead body down, that body groaned. He was not dead. He was still alive. And then he was taken to emergency room, he got saved. And the army gave this devotee bravery award for saving friend from battlefield, risking his life. And he said he quietly took the award without revealing what circumstances in which he did that. So many of us have experienced that the nature and the occupation may sometimes not match. Arjuna did not have that confusion, because Arjuna was proposing to Krishna, I will become beggar. I will go and beg. I want to be a humble beggar. I don't want to be an aggressive fighter. And Krishna said, it is a bogus proposal. Because by nature, you are a fighter. You are a Kshatriya. Means one who gets absorbed in the possibility of a conflict. When you give a Kshatriya the opportunity for a conflict and opportunity for a feast, they'll choose the conflict. They love it. It is irresistible. So Krishna said, you are a Kshatriya. You go to beg, holding your begging bowl, and somebody insults you, you will hit him with the begging bowl and kill him. So it's not going to work. You better fight. So therefore, Krishna realized that Arjuna's swabhava as a Kshatriya and his swadharma as a Kshatriya is still not helping him overcome the confusion and the fear of the change which has suddenly been brought in front of him. And the change was the change in Arjuna's identity. As a warrior, Arjuna was very clear, I have to fight. But when he saw Bhishma, he said, oh, I am a grandson. How can I kill grandfather? When he saw Drona, he said, I am a student. How can I kill my teacher? So therefore, amongst the different changes all of us go through, every moment we go through changes in identity with respect to 8 things. Atma, body, changes in the body. A visit to the doctor and you come out, the doctor's report indicate some change. That change can turn your life upside down. Jaya, with respect to husband and wife, any relationship change causes anxiety. Sutta, with respect to children, their health, their education, their future, this, that, any change it puts you in anxiety and fear. Agara with respect to your house, Pashu with respect to your vehicle, Dravina with respect to your money, growing of money, losing of money, Arthasya sadhane siddhe utkarshe rakshane veye. At all levels, money becomes the cause of anxiety when it changes. And then, Pashu, Dravina, Bandhushu, social respect, social acceptance or rejection. That is a major one, because so many people get severely affected when they feel they're rejected socially. So social acceptance is a major need. It was always a need for human beings in society, and Arjuna was also refusing to fight because he felt, how can I fight with the very people from whom I aspire social acceptance? If I kill all of them, who will be there to applaud my victory? There is nobody. Right? So therefore, the need for social acceptance was always there even before social media. After social media, things have grown exponentially, and all kinds of strange phenomena people are experiencing. And Arjuna went through identity crisis without having any social media account. So what to speak of when people have multiple identities and challenges related to that? So Bandhushu means social acceptance, and the feeling that if I'm insulted, how will I tolerate this? I've been to the ICU beds and met people who have gone through heart attacks. And when I asked them, why did you have this heart attack? And they said, because somebody who was 2 levels younger to me was promoted above me. So it may appear, what's the big deal to us? But for him, it's a huge thing. So therefore, Bandhushu literally means the social acceptance in a certain situation. And for that person, it means a lot in that particular context. Bandhushu. Right? When I joined the ashram, my family was like bewildered. And one of the main reasons was because everybody was asking, what is going on? Why has he become abnormal? Right? And then they didn't tell most of the family members what I was doing. Then I started coming on television in 95. So one of my cousins saw on the TV my lecture. Then he called my mother and asked, I think I saw him on TV. He has a strange hairstyle. Is he the same guy? And they said, yeah. I said, when did he do this? I said, oh, a few years back. And then he said, wow, at least amongst all the cousins, at least one of them is doing something for Krishna and for God and for society. We are very proud of him and we are giving him all blessings. So then my mother, oh. So then the main thing was not what I was doing, but one of the major factors, which is reality, is how do people respond, right? And therefore, closer the society, more close-knit the society, the more that pressure is. And therefore, Indian society is quite close-knit. So this need for social acceptance is more in Indian society, right? And therefore, especially the results of the kids and everything becomes like a huge thing in India. I remember it was late 90s, Radhanath Swami was giving Sunday class in month of March. And the crowd was very less. So then Maharaj asked me, why people are not there today? I said, Maharaj, exam season. Maharaj said, whose exam? Parents or children's? I said, it's children's exam, but Maharaj said, why parents are not coming? Maharaj, this is India. It's a very important thing. And it's part of the ecosystem. You can't change it. So therefore, Then my family organized a program for me to speak to all my cousins and all my relatives and all. So we had 80 to 100 people. I've got like a mini congregation at home. And I took one devotee with me. He spoke about, Prahlad Maharaj's benediction from Narsingadev that 21 generations get liberated. So he pointed to me, he said, he's devotee of Krishna. All of you will go to Vaikuntha and 21 generations will go. Everybody was blissful. And after the lecture, one cousin came to me and said, please continue chanting. And then he looked at me and he said, if you have any problem, let me know. And then he said, I didn't know your practice of Krishna consciousness will be beneficial to us also. So therefore, it's a fact that many decisions we make in life is not because of economic reasons, is because of social reasons, because of the perception that I am not being accepted. That is called bandhushu. And then 8th is rajye, which means our control, area of control. When the area of control changes, that also causes great trauma. And it is a very generic thing. The word used is rajye. It doesn't have to be kingdom. It can mean a small sphere where I think I have such influence, and then over some time I feel control is changing. Right? So that creates anxiety and fear. So in just this one verse, the entire story of why the whole world is running pillar to post is described. This is the only reason everybody is working hard in material life. Atma Jaya Suta Agara Pashu Dravina Bandhushu Rajye. We are all trying hard to maintain, sustain and grow our relationship with these 8. And trying desperately to make sure that my identity with respect to these 8 does not change. Which is ridiculous because every moment it will change. So therefore, the difference between someone who's trained to deal with change and someone who's not trained with change is just like if a fireman is sitting in the fire brigade office, he's trained to respond to fire. A policeman is trained to respond to crime. A doctor sitting in the emergency room is trained to respond to medical emergency. They are waiting for the call. That's their profession. Right? So therefore, when someone is trained to deal with fire, so fire is an emergency. Crime is an emergency. Health crisis is an emergency. But there is a body of knowledge which deals with it. There is a method of training people to deal with it. And people are trained to cope with it and solve it. Like that, there is a body of knowledge to deal with the crisis of change. That is called knowledge of that which does not change. What is that? Spirit. What does not change? Spirit. What changes? Matter. Right? So to put out fire, you need water. So to cope with the fire of change, you need the water of spirit. So the spiritual knowledge is that which is most important, and in Sanskrit it is called Adhyatmik Gyan. Adhyatmik basically means spiritual. And therefore there is a body of knowledge. There are books which deal with it. and there are people who are trained. And there is a place where that training happens. So the place where this spiritual knowledge is discussed and shared with others, that basically are the temples, the mosques, the gurdwaras, the synagogues, the churches, and all these places. And congregation homes like this also become places where this knowledge is given. And therefore all traditions have always spoken about beginning the day with a prayer, irrespective of whatever religious tradition they may be. What does it mean? It basically means we begin the day by reiterating our unchanging identity as soul, who is part and parcel of the unchanging Supreme Soul, and related to the Supreme Soul through the unchanging bond of service. Whatever may be Muslim prayer, Christian prayer, Jewish prayer, Hindu prayer, this prayer, that prayer, the theme is only three things. I don't change, the Lord doesn't change, and our relationship of service can never be changed by any power, including time. So you begin the day with that conviction, with that understanding, and you reinforce that conviction in the morning and then start the day. Start the day expecting that your 9 to 10 hours of the day will be filled with change. Because the spiritualists are the ones who are trained to deal with change. That's our main profession. Right? If there is a fireman and he gets a call that there is fire and he says, "Arey, dar lag raha hai. I have phobia of fire," then he cannot be a fireman. I know students after one semester of medical school drop out because they can't handle blood. They can't deal with dead bodies. So therefore, if we are being trained in a certain way, we should know what we are being trained in. And therefore, as mental health illnesses is growing in this day and age to epidemic proportions, we should realize how important is spirituality in today's day and age, and what a great benediction Srila Prabhupada has done by giving us his books, which carry the body of knowledge which can help counteract the influence and the effect of change. And therefore, what the temples and the satsangs really do is, in the midst of all this change, they help us by gifting us the asset of hope, that there is life beyond this change. So therefore, the greatest asset is not the asset of wealth, it is not the asset of influence, it is not the asset of political power, it is not the asset of popularity, it is not the asset of physical health, it is not the asset of any kind of material acquisition, but the greatest asset you can receive in life is the asset of hope. Because if you have wealth, health, influence, political power, etc., but lose your hope, you can't do anything. And that was displayed through Arjuna's case study. The most successful person, having the skill, lost the will. But if you have no money, no influence, no backing, but if you have hope, everything can happen. So therefore, this satsang exists to generate that hope. Asha. Pumsam shlagyatam manye dandamarhatam arpitam yam namata pita bhrata suhrdascha. And so there are examples described in Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, demonstrating various case studies of people who went through abrupt change and lost one of these eight, the wealth or the health or the body or this or that, but still how they maintained their hope. So therefore Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the abrupt change imposed upon the emperor Parikshit, and he had to go through sudden declaration of death, which can be depressing, but how he responds to that. So it's a case study of various successful people who successfully dealt with abrupt change imposed against their will, and how they responded to that. So in the 8th canto there is this description of Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj is the emperor of the planet, and suddenly everything is taken away. Vamandev comes and says, give me 3 steps of land. He agrees. Shukracharya stops him. He doesn't agree. Still continues and fulfills his commitment. Vamandev expands his 3 feet. With his 2 feet he covered the entire universe, and now with the 3rd feet he says, where do I keep? And Bali Maharaj offers his head. And at that time he is arrested and everybody makes fun of him. He was respected, glorified. He was the most powerful person in the whole universe 1 moment ago, and next moment he lost everything instantly. At that moment, where a common person cannot handle such drastic change, which is a recipe for sure shot depression and loss of hope, that is when Bali Maharaj says, looking at Vamandev, folding his hands, bowing his head and glorifying him, Pumsam shlaghyata mamanye, my dear Lord, you are worshipable. What you have done to me is glorious. Shlaghyatamam, it is worth glorification. What is that? Dandam arhatamarpitam. The punishment which you have given to me is worshipable. You are the supreme personality of punishment. Yamna mata pita brata suhurdas chadishantihi. In history, no parent, no master, no friend has ever punished their dependent the way you have punished me. But, my dear Lord, this is a question which is asked in Srimad Bhagavatam. What would you prefer in life as practicing devotees? On one hand, if a materialistic person offers you a reward, and then with the other hand, Krishna offers you punishment, what would you choose? A materialist's reward or Krishna's punishment? Krishna is hearing, by the way. Yes, let us ask the youngest devotee, Vrindavan. What's your name? Vrindavan, Sadhu. Materialists reward, Krishna is giving punishment. Which gift you will accept? No coaching. Okay. Oh, you're thinking about the reward. You're honest. Yeah, it's true. It's a difficult proposal. So the Srimad Bhagavatam throws at us all challenging situations of the highest order. Right? Some people say, I'll take the reward also. And then negotiate with Krishna. So therefore, when you hear the pastimes, it appears, very nice. But when you actually put yourself in a situation, it's not so easy. So therefore, Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is simple, but not easy. And then Prabhupada made one more statement. Krishna consciousness is so simple that you may miss it. So therefore, Bali Maharaj is demonstrating that the essence of bhakti is a devotee is aspiring for a relationship with Krishna, no matter what. He is focused on that which is not going to change. What is that? Relationship with Krishna. So if Krishna in the course of that relationship decides to give punishment, so the devotee decides to take that, thinking that this is absolute and this is for my benefit. Like that. And that's what the Shastras are demonstrating. Prabhupada was on morning walk and he asked a question. Why is Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead? This was in the Kumbh Mela, and one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, because Bhagavad Gita says so. Prabhupada said, it's only a book. Then another devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, you say so. Prabhupada said, I'm an old man. I say so. I keep saying so many things. Then nobody had answered. Then Prabhupada said, when you chant Hare Krishna, you experience change. So you know Krishna is acting from within, and therefore he is the Supreme. So Prabhupada was kind of demonstrating how to think from different angles. And then 3 years later, Prabhupada is another place on a morning walk. Again he asked the same question. Why is Krishna Supreme Personality of Godhead? And one devotee from that walk was here. And he thought, I know the answer. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, when you chant Hare Krishna, you experience Krishna from within, so you know. Prabhupada said, no, because Gita says so. So Prabhupada said, our philosophy is Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. All three put together. And therefore, all three are meant to generate and create hope within us in all circumstances. Sudama goes to Dwarka and Krishna receives him. Kimanena kritam punyam avadhutena bhikshuna shriyahinena lokesmin gurhitena dhamena cha. So as soon as he walks in, Krishna gets down from his asan, from his royal throne, makes Sudama sit, takes his feet and starts washing his feet. Rukmini Devi takes the chamar in her hand and the goddess of fortune is worshipping. And all the palace residents are bewildered. What kind of piety has he done that in spite of being poverty-stricken, Krishna is worshipping him? And Sudama himself is thinking, Shushrushaya paramaya padasambhahanadibhi. Krishna is washing my feet and worshipping me. As if Pujito devadevena vipradevena devavat. As if worshipping the demigods. Why is he doing like this? And then Sudama thought maybe Krishna was waiting for some sage and all the paraphernalia was ready for welcoming the sage, and I entered. At that time there was a case of mistaken identity, and that's why he's doing this. So Krishna wants to address that, and then he speaks about the entire background of how we were in the Gurukul together and all that. And then Krishna doesn't give any money to him, and on the way back, all Krishna does is offers him some nice respect, good hospitality. But the experience which Sudama gets is of great bliss. And as he's going home, in spite of Krishna not giving him any material remuneration, Sudama is experiencing ecstasy. How is that? If you go to fundraise expecting a check and they give you a box of laddus and send you, the laddu is sweet, but still you'll be thinking, array. But the way Krishna dealt with Sudama had two elements. And in any relationship, when there are these two elements, satisfaction is guaranteed. Shvabhote vishvabhavena svasukhena bhivanditam jagamasvalayam tata patham anuvrajya nanditam. Krishna offered Sudama ji love and respect. When we serve someone with the ingredient of love and respect, loving service and respectful dealings, then it touches the heart. And therefore, the most important ingredient which acts as the glue to keep a Vaishnava community together are dealings which are inspired by love and respect. Nirbikar Haridasa Gambhir Ashay Bolite Lagila Tare Hoya Saday. Thakur Haridas had absorption in his sadhana. He had consistency in his service and his sensitivity in his dealings. So a practicing devotee must have these three things: absorption in sadhana, consistency in seva, and sensitivity in Vaishnava Sadachar. And when we have this, then people have faith and they want to go out of their way to serve and reciprocate. And that's how Krishna, in the 10th canto, 4th part cover you see of 10th canto, Krishna is sitting down at feet of Sudama. So that one image is a very classic image of how the bonding happens. So Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON all over the world based on this principle of being a servant leader, willing to acknowledge 5 things what made Prabhupada such a successful leader. He had humility, he had enthusiasm. Srila Prabhupada appreciated everybody's efforts, and Srila Prabhupada recognized and rewarded excellence. There is a difference between appreciating everybody for their contribution and recognizing and rewarding excellence when he would see. And 5th, and most importantly, he gave the devotees creative freedom, allowed them, certain kind of freedom, empowered them. But then he was always there to make sure that things are within control. Like in New Zealand, they had a small place and they wanted to install 2 sets of deities. So they thought of a unique idea, made a revolving altar. With a motor underneath, they would press the button, it would move. So they installed Gaurnita in front and Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra back to back. Back to back on the revolving altar. Prabhupada came, offered obeisances to Gaurnitai. When he got up, he saw Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. And Prabhupada was bewildered and he said, "What is this? These are deities or rolling stone?" And then Prabhupada said, "Your enthusiasm is good, but I think you're crossing the boundaries." So, as ISKCON goes into the second phase of 50 years, and we express our deepest gratitude to Srila Prabhupada's disciples who went out of their way and did such tremendous austerities to establish the flag of Lord Chaitanya's movement in some of the most difficult parts of the whole globe, and took the Vedic Sanatan Dharma to the remotest locations nobody can imagine, working against the wave of political dissent, being banned in so many places, did things which cannot be even described. And I have worked closely with many of them, and I can tell you that they carry a different power altogether. And they are specially blessed by Srila Prabhupada, and they have gone beyond the call of duty. The kind of roles they have accepted at such a young age without asking question, and what they have done. When I think back and I look at Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Jai Patak Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Bhanu Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, and Niranjan Maharaj, many Maharajas with whom I have closely worked. And I have seen what they were doing when they were 50 and what I have done at 50. Then I see what kind of risks they have taken, what kind of roles and responsibilities they have handled. It's just mind-boggling. So therefore, that generation has placed ISKCON and Mahaprabhu's movement globally. And so today, the sun never sets in ISKCON. Because where Mangalarti is going on in one country, there is Sandhyarti going on in another country. So all over the world, there are ISKCON temples. Presence is established. Right? But still there is no limit to growth. And so ISKCON in the next 50 years has to go to places where we have not reached and go deeper in trying to help people who have connected to ISKCON improve the quality of their practice. Because when Prabhupada departed, he had 5,500 disciples, only 20 were Indian. When Prabhupada departed, ISKCON had 108 temples, only 5 were in India. Mayapur, Calcutta, Vrindavan, Mumbai, Hyderabad. Today, India has 350 temples. Today, 80-85% of resources of ISKCON are in India, both human resource and assets. But still, India has 750 districts. ISKCON has reached only 208 districts. More than 550 districts ISKCON has not reached at all. There is not even one congregation devotee in 500 plus districts in India, with a population of 1.4 billion. So although you may say from ISKCON point of view, ISKCON has done so much in India, from another point of view, we have not done much. When you compare that it is a country of 1 billion Hindus and so many other organizations, we know they are reaching to the grassroots in almost 6.5 lakh villages. And ISKCON is present only in the cities in India and hardly in the villages. So therefore, whatever the previous generation may do, the next generation has a huge task list of things which they can accomplish. And one of the things is the amount of talent which ISKCON has attracted is humongous. And therefore, this talent needs to be inspired to engage in productive ways to spread Lord Chaitanya's mission. So what we really need is empowerment of the human resource which has been attracted within the ISKCON communities and temples. When Prabhupada departed, 99.9% of ISKCON was within the temples. Today, 99.9% of ISKCON is outside the temple. Right? So if you go through the list of temples in Back to Godhead magazine and you think, this is ISKCON. Back to Godhead magazine will have like 600, 700 temples address. Within those addresses, only 0.01% of ISKCON human resource lives. So which is the ISKCON? This is the ISKCON who's living in the homes and practicing their devotional service. Like that. So therefore, paradigms are changing, and hence Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the Harinam Sankirtan to empower each and every person to convert his home into a temple and be trained within his home on how to cope with changes on a daily basis. And therefore, it is described, Eivakya ache mora sakshi mahajan, jarvakya satya kori mane tribhuvan. Sakshi Gopal pastime, the young Brahmana says, I may not have high birth, I may not have assets, but I have one thing, faith in Krishna's words. And based on the faith in Krishna's words, I want to base my life. And Prabhupada said there is no real need for temples, but the main purpose of temples is to train people how you can make your home into a temple. And therefore, that training is being provided for you to change the center of your home and make Krishna as the center of your existence. एक दिनेर उद्योग याइछे महोत्सव कोइला गोपाल प्रभावे होय अन्य न जानिला. When Madhavendra Puri found the deity of Gopal from within few hours he established the deities. So the verse says, how could such a complex task as deity installation happen in such a short period? Gopal Prabhave. So therefore the idea of training in Krishna consciousness at home is to change your dependence paradigm from dependence on yourself and your karmic skills to dependence on Krishna. Gopal Prabhave. The whole idea is experience what it means to live life by beginning the day depending on Krishna. Gopal Prabhave hoye anyena janila. And therefore, Eirupaya chandale kirtana sanchare nam prema malaganti podela sansare. Lord Chaitanya came to give that prayer of Harinam Sankirtan, giving the garland of prema to the whole world. That garland which was strewn on the thread of Harinam Sankirtan. So that Harinam Sankirtan is a sacrifice we make, where we together decide to keep aside all of our thoughts and priorities, all of our prayers for our increasing prosperity and diminishing our adversity. We consciously decide that at this moment when we are together with the association of devotees, I will keep aside all those thoughts. I will sacrifice those thoughts and replace only one thought in my mind at this time as I pray. Please engage me in your service. So sacrifice means yajna. So when together we offer that prayer, sacrificing the other thoughts and only offer the prayer of engagement in service, that is called Sankirtan Yajna. And when you are going out and distributing the books to the people, what you are doing is training the people that please come and join us in this sacrifice. Otherwise, if you are simply thinking how to become prosperous, how to avoid adversity, constant thinking of these 2 points is the cause of anxiety. Anxiety is nothing but meditating on prosperity and adversity. That is called chinta. Chintan means how, in spite of whatever prosperity comes, whatever adversity comes, let me engage in seva. That is called chintan. So the Hare Krishna movement is trying to take people from chinta to chintan. That's the idea. And therefore, the Harinam has been established. I remember in 2005-6 in Chowpatty when we did the temple reconstruction, and then towards the end, we decided to, Radhanath Swami, after the marbles were cladded inside the temple hall, Italian marble and all that. Finally, then Maharaj called me, and we were very happy that now construction is over. Then he called me and then he said, we have one last thing remaining. I said, what? He said, we should make the temple air conditioned. I said, not a single ISKCON temple in India is air conditioned. Temple hall is not air conditioned. Guest house rooms may be air conditioned, restaurant may be air conditioned. Maharaj, you can't air condition a temple hall. This is India. Come on. Give me a break. He said, we will do it. I said, why? He said, people come from far distance and they are tired. They come just to hear lecture. So they should get a very comfortable experience in hearing lecture. And I was thinking, Baba, anyway they sleep. And if you put AC also, they'll bring pillow along with them. I said, I think this is too much pampering. I don't think we need all this. Sometimes then you start thinking, oh, he's from America, he doesn't get it. We are local guys. We can teach him a few things. So I said, I don't think it will work. He says, no, we will do it. So he'll hear everything, but then finally make sure he will enforce what he wants. So then we enrolled, one company. We shortlisted few companies and then one company came forward and then signed the contract. So the contract was signed for a few lakhs. They were going to do the air conditioning of the whole temple hall, and then the contract was that at all times the temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius and below. And then we added 2 words, including Kirtan time. They didn't see that. Signed. Contract was executed. Then, the first day, Radhanath Maharaj, Sunday feast lecture, the company guy came for due diligence along with our maintenance guy. So during lecture time, both these fellows were moving around with the temperature thermometer, checking. This happened for quite some time. So because both have to cross check. So this guy is taking around and our man is seeing. And then, okay, lecture time perfect. Then suddenly, last Kirtan, everyone started jumping up and down. Zoom, 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 zoom. It went 26 degree. So our devotee said, So he was like scratching his head, this guy. Went again and made changes. Next week again. This went on year after year. So we held back a few lakhs. Last payment. For not honoring the contract fully. For 5 years we held back. Then the country head called me. And he said, Baba, I surrender to your Kirtan. Please. I mean, we didn't realize what it was. But then finally there was a negotiated settlement and we closed it. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has specifically come to give this Kirtan where even though we may be going through difficult situation in life, when we come together, what we are offering is a combined prayer of engage us in your service. in that prayer, maybe somebody's prayer may not be so intense. Somebody's prayer may not be that engage me in your prayer. Engage me? Oh no, don't engage me so much. Engage him. He's very enthusiastic, always. He can always do double, triple my service. And somebody may be super enthusiastic. But when the cumulative prayer goes, then the Lord glances upon the whole assembly. And sometimes, in spite of being extremely handicapped in our bhakti, we get extra grace because of the presence of other super excellent devotees in the Sangha. So we are actually getting passing marks not because of us, because of the other Sangha, others in the Sangha. So therefore, that Vaishnava Sangha is very, very powerful and it must be acknowledged. Pariksha korite Gopal koila agyadan, Pariksha hoila sheshe hoila dayavan. And therefore, when Madhavendra Puri is blessed by Gopal for all that austerity which he does, he became very merciful after that. And so, he performed a lot of tapasya. Bahu parishrama chandana remuna anila ananda badhila mane dukkhana gunila. He performed a lot of austerity, lot of effort, bahu parishrama, and he brought that chandan to Remuna. And when he brought that chandan to Remuna, ananda badhila, his joy increased. Dukkhana ganila, he did not calculate how much austerity he went through. So this is a very important point. Dukkhana ganila. To keep account means business. If we keep account of all the distresses and austerities I have gone through in a relationship, it means I consider that relationship business-like. In a relationship of love, there is no calculation of taking. It is only giving. Dukkhana ganila. And therefore he just gave everything continuously to the Lord. And therefore there was no question of keeping any record. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was in Vrindavan and he was like talking to a group of devotees and they said, we will have Sanatan Goswami's disappearance day festival tomorrow. And the devotees were very enthusiastic. They said, Babaji Maharaj, how we will celebrate? And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said, in the morning we will have Harinam Japa. Okay, few hours. After that we will do Harikatha on the glories of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, on the glories of Sanatan Goswami. And then after that, then we will do bhajans in glorification of Sanatan Goswami. And then after that, then we will continue Harinam. And then after that, then we will continue bhajan. Then after that, we will continue Harikatha. And the devotees were getting impatient because festival means they were expecting. And then after that, and then he said, Jagannath Babaji Maharaj said, and then we will fast all day. Because that is the nourishment, the remembrance of our relationship with Lord at all situations. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was in Darjeeling. At that time it was considered like a highly sense gratification place in the 30s. And Saraswati Thakur turned to his brahmacharis and said, I like this place. This is great for preaching. We should have a center here. Who will become in charge here. Everybody kept looking at each other. They had just come to visit with Saraswati Thakur. Nobody imagined somebody has to stay back. So they said, we will get back. Next day, Saraswati Thakur again said, who is going to stay back? And they said, we are still discussing. Third day again he asked. They had no answer. Saraswati Thakur said, tomorrow morning, first person, whoever I see, I will make him in charge here. Another idea, management technique. Next day morning, nobody came to serve him breakfast. And then finally, some of them decided that we can't, neglect this order. Somebody has to do it. Then finally they were forced, as they say, back against the wall. And then finally they decided somebody will actually do it. And then they offered to Saraswati Thakur. So the great acharyas are always looking at opportunities, how they can engage us and tie in through their rope of love and devotion. So in the satsanga, it is that rope of attachment we have towards the devotees which keeps us bound. Right? And therefore, the 10th canto, Damodar Lila, it is described. Evam santarshita yanga harina bhritya varshata. Lord Hari is controlled by his devotees' love. Controlled by that love. If that rope of love and affection and attachment is not there, then life becomes mechanical. And therefore, we must realize that the future of ISKCON very much depends on how we agree to respect and have emotion and affection to our equals, to our God brothers and God sisters, because in a few years' time, we will just have 200,000 devotees of the same generation having to depend on each other for leadership. When Prabhupada departed, he had 5,500 disciples. Prabhupada's disciples have now almost 200,000 disciples across different gurus. And the movement is being handed over to this generation. We can't be expecting someone to come from above. And therefore, this is the time when we need to go deep into the practice of the process and understand that whatever is required for us to progress is given to us in these books and by the example of these devotees. We need to internalize it and agree to be bound by the rope of affection and devotion and the protocols defined. I was in Rath Yatra many years ago, and in Jagannath Puri, if some of you have had the fortune of attending Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri, 2.5 million people in a single street for 6 hours, 7 hours. Right? It's a intoxicating experience. Once you get used to it, you want to have it every time. So, one of the most challenging things is to pull the rope. So we have millions of people pulling on that rope. And every second you get stepped on by people around you and by the police. Right? But it's a thrill. And 10 seconds, 20 seconds you pull and then it stops. And then 10, 20 seconds and it stops. And that way the whole thing happens for 3-4 hours. So I was thinking, we never get to pull long time. So as we came to an end, suddenly we started pulling, and for more than a minute we were running with the rope. And I was ecstatic. Wow, we are pulling for a long time. Then we realized they took out the rope from the rath only. We were just running with the rope only. And we were all thinking, oh wow. The connection was not there. So one may think, okay, this tradition and all this protocols given by the acharyas, it slows us down. Let's do something different, which will increase the speed. It will increase the speed, but there will be no connection. You need the connection with the parampara. You need the connection with the line which has been given. Right? So during COVID pandemic, what was the greatest demand for? For distribution of what? Prasad Baba. Vaccine. I mean, this is America, but in India, everybody took vaccine very diligently. So we had the largest record of vaccination in the whole world. So the greatest demand was for vaccine. So whether Covaxin or Covishield or this or that, right? So when you're distributing vaccine has its role. And if somebody is the business of producing and distributing vaccine, they can't suddenly switch it with Coca-Cola. Because vaccine is vaccine and Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola. So both are two different things. So therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the medicine. Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha, Krishna Prasad. This is the medicine. So we are in the pharma business. We are not in the cola business. So our business vertical must be very clear. Whatever may be the sales, we can't switch verticals. So therefore, this is a beautiful point described. And when Lord Rama is dealing with Sugriva, he is demonstrating this point that even if a devotee makes mistakes, yes, it may be possible there will be mistakes, but he should be given opportunity. So Sugriva gives promise, I will support you. After Vali is killed, Sugriva says, just some time I will spend with family and then we will attack. So Ram says, okay. So Ram and Lakshmana are spending time on Malyavanta Parvat. And Sugriva becomes so engrossed, he forgets the mission. And 4 months passed and Lord Ram is in great anxiety and he is looking at Lakshmana and is saying, all through the rainy season as the rains are falling, every drop of this rain reminds me of Sita's tears. Where is this Sugriva? Where is he gone? And Lakshman says, I don't know, my dear Lord, he was supposed to come. And Ram says, go Lakshman, go and give this message on my behalf. Nayat sankuchita panta yenavali hatogatang samaye tishta sugriva mavali hatamanvaga. Go and give him this message from me. Go and tell him, oh Sugriva, Lord Ram has given this message that the road through which Vali was sent to the kingdom of death, that road is still open. Give him this message. Lakshman says, why message? I'll kill him only. Ram says, no. Don't cross the boundary. I want you to give message. So Lakshman goes. And then Sugriva gets the message and comes running to Lord Ram. And falls at Ram's feet. Ram embraces him, forgives him. And in spite of the fact that he deviated and forgot the mission, Ram again makes him the king of all the soldiers and gives him the responsibility. So therefore Lord Ram allows him the opportunity to serve. Because the vow and the service are the two main assets which a devotee has. Brata and seva. And therefore when Bhishan comes in front of Ram, along with his 4 associates, leaving Ravana's kingdom, the 4 associates of Vibhishan represent the 4 arms of surrender. Akinchanatvam, I have nothing. Ananyagatitvam, I have no other destination. Saralta, the Lord is so simple, He doesn't do any background check when anyone comes for a relationship. Anyone before employing anybody will do background check. Lord never does. And Shakti, He is all powerful. He can deal with anyone. And when Vibhishana comes, he prays to Lord Ram. Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Raghavaya Mahatmane Nivedayata Mam Kshipram Vibhishanam Upasthitam. O my dear Lord, who gives shelter to the entire creation, O Mahatma, O Raghav, Nivedayata, I offer my prayer to you. Kshipram, quickly accept me. Why quickly? Because the nature of the mind is flickering. The desire for sense gratification is so strong that in the midst of a strong urge for sense gratification, sometimes the spark of surrender may arise. But that tiny flickering spark of the desire to surrender may get doused in the midst of the intense storm for sense gratification. Therefore, quickly accept me before this dies out. I am coming from a demoniac family. I am Ravana's brother. Nivedayata mam kshipram, which means the current desire I have for Vaishnava Sangha and for sadhana bhakti should not be taken for granted. In a particular tiny window in the soul's journey through millions of lifetimes, this door has been opened. And if we take it for granted, we may lose it. So Jiva Goswami says, 100 offenses you commit, your mind gets distracted during chanting. 1,000 offenses you commit, you cannot follow 4 principles. 10,000 offenses you commit, the holy name will not come on the lips. And your chanting will become a history. And when you look at the bead bag, you will think, how I was chanting is a mystery. It happens. It very much happens. We have dealt with hundreds of cases. Kshipram means quickly. So if that association is there and the opportunity is there, take it and practice it. So therefore, that's the kind of hope which through Bali Maharaj, through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, through Sudamaji, through Madhavendra Puri, through Vibhishan, through Sugriva, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya are sharing with all of us that Vaishnava Sangha is meant for giving us hope in the midst of the most difficult, hopeless situation in this age of Kali. And all of you are so fortunate that you have the wonderful association of Vaisheshika Maharaj to guide you personally, lead you personally, and keep you on the track of sadhana bhakti and connected to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. By practicing bhakti and by distributing bhakti to one and all, ISKCON Silicon Valley is famous for its mind-boggling enthusiasm for book distribution and sharing Krishna consciousness with others. And I'm sure that in the days to come, Krishna will bless you with bigger and bigger temple facilities so that whole of Silicon Valley can fit inside. So, on behalf of the leadership of ISKCON, I thank each and every one of you for so sincerely and with great commitment and conviction practicing Krishna consciousness and setting a fantastic example. And know that today, ISKCON, the majority of ISKCON is in homes. And the temples exist just so that you can get the right guidance, the right energy, the right direction on how to transform your consciousness in your home to become more devotional. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. I want to also welcome my friend G. Srinivas, who's my classmate from IIT Bombay, who's come here after we are meeting after a long time, along with his good wife. What's her name? Yeah, Parimala and Srinivas. So he reached out to me, saying that if you're having a program, let me know. And we met at the reunion of 25th year of our IIT batch in 2018. That was the first time we met after 25 years, and after that we are meeting. So this is the community here, and there are quite a few of them to take care of you. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Please. Thank you so much. So, any questions? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for taking my question. One thing you mentioned around beginning of the lecture.
Maybe I think you can try to come a little inside. There are quite a few people outside, looks like, including our host.
Sir, one thing you mentioned around beginning of the lecture that Arjuna's nature was to fight.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, as a human being, I've come to realize is that certain aspects of my nature I personally want to change. How would I go about changing my nature? Is it possible? I'm sure it is possible, but I really want to improve upon some aspects of my own nature. I'm sure it is possible. Can you please guide?
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is actually Nachiket.
Nachiketa. So Nachiket ji, are you new connected or you are already chanting?
No, sir. I've actually met you in Seattle also in 2007, along with I think it was
Sundar?
Govind Prabhu. Govind Prabhu and
Govind
you
Charan?
had a very intimate program back in
Govind
Seattle.
Prabhu, yeah.
Yes.
Who came with me.
I've been around ISKCON for a long time.
Okay,
I never went as far as actually initiating myself, but I love the philosophy.
But you chant and everything?
Yes.
Okay, great. So who do you know here? in this community, who do you know closely?
I know a lot of people.
Okay. Anybody in particular who you are close to?
The person sitting right next to
Okay.
me.
Sham. Yeah. Okay. So main thing is, because my answer will only be a like an intro.
Uh-huh.
So whoever is there will have to kind of
He can guide me.
So this is a eternal discussion topic on nature, and how we can change it and things like that. So all of us have a certain swabhava we are born with, and we have to live with it to a certain degree. What we can actually change is the intention with which we use that nature. So who is a Brahman? One who gets absorbed in acquiring knowledge. Who is a Kshatriya? One who gets absorbed in conflict. Who is a Vaishya? Who gets absorbed in acquiring money. One who gets pleasure in acquiring money, but more than that, you can identify Vaishya that he gets pain when losing money. Yeah. See, I've dealt with all varieties of people. Even in Brahmacharya ashram, they may appear saffron, but within that, there are these flavors. And very strong. It's like heavy emotions connected. It's like taking their life away. They literally feel, "Arey, praan chala gaya." So, it's a fact. And then Shudra, when you say, basically it means it's nothing derogatory, but it is someone who is quite satisfied in maintaining status quo. You keep them at a certain level and assure few comforts. They are happy in that situation. They get absorbed in status quo and a certain degree of comfort, and they don't want that to change. So these are the different types. You have to live with it. And then there may be, some shades more here, some shades more there, this, that, whatever. So when you're looking at how to change, then you have to look at changing your intention. And Gita speaks of intention with mode of ignorance, tamogun, out of fear, mode of passion, out of desire, mode of goodness, out of duty, and mode of pure goodness, out of love. So you do this out of these four. Then you kind of, see what can be done in that situation. But in all four, what is important, you have to avoid being trapped by the intention of false ego. That I am doing it because I am something special. That needs to be avoided. Right? So when the ego comes in, whatever may be your nature, it takes you to another. Even a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, but if the ego is active, false ego, then your priority is not service, but the focus is on yourself. Like we were in Mayapur Yatra 2009, and then we had set up the kitchen and people came and started making comment that every day you are giving us same poha, upma and all in breakfast, you should give pav bhaji. I said, how in middle of Mayapur will bring pav bhaji yaar? So some of them came up to me, अरे प्रभु आप तो कुछ भी कर सकते हो, आपने सोच लिया तो क्या नहीं हो सकता. I got trapped. I said, point है, ये तो point है. So then some of my other team members were reluctant. बोले यार पब्लिक कुछ भी बोलता रहेगा, प्रभु छोड़ो उसको. मैं बोला नहीं, bhakti means working out of comfort zone. But actually I got trapped by that comment. And then so I sent somebody to get the pav and all from Calcutta, and then On the morning of the day when we were going to give the breakfast, I entered the kitchen at 4 o'clock in the morning and made a call to that guy who was bringing the pav. All night he was going to drive from Kolkata and bring. He got stuck in a traffic jam due to Kali Puja. And he was delayed. But when I called him, I asked him, how far are you? And he said, bus, aa raha hu. मैं start करूँ? Of course, go ahead. So you can never find out, and these are all pre-GPS days and all, So I said, okay, we started and we finished 7 o'clock, everything was ready, counter was set, devotees started coming, because for prasad everybody comes on time. There was a long line started building up, and people were coming and saying, what's the menu? I said, bread and jam. I said, what? Yeah, traffic jam. The car is stuck. Then people started complaining, Arey, what is this? We are standing 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Someone started, when they found out it is, pav bhaji, they said, Arey, 2 pav pe khade hain, 1 pav nahi mil raha hai. Kya kar rahe aap log yaar? Then the vehicle came, not much, 25 minutes late only, half an hour late. But half an hour for a hungry group of 3,000-4,000 people is like a yuga for the kitchen organizer. Around 7:30 when the vehicle came, the line had reached till the gate of the Mayapur property. And when this guy was at the gate, the vehicle, when he saw the last guy, he said, line kya khada hai? And he said, Suna hai Kolkata se pav aa raha hai. This devotee got bewildered and he thought they'll thrash me or something. He told the driver, मैं गंगा स्नान करने जा रहा हूँ. And he came inside, and then that half an hour delay, but people were so upset, and many people in my team started telling, Arey, you take all independent decision, you don't consult us, you like this, like that. So I said, Arey Baba, I didn't know this is going to happen. And then I realized that, okay, so many people may say so many things, but sometimes you have to make sure that you are not doing something because of the ego only. Right? So therefore, whatever may be the nature, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not focusing much on nature. He says, Naham Vipro. I am not Brahman. Nacha Narapatir. I am not Kshatriya. Napi Vaishyo. I am not Vaishya. Na Shudro. Naham Varni. Nacha Grihapatir. Na Vanastho Yatirva. I am not Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapras, Sannyasi. Kintu Prodyan Nikhila Paramananda Purnamratabdher Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Das Dasanudas. So that is Lord Chaitanya's focus, that what Krishna appreciates is sevak. So let us try to be sevak in the best possible way. Yeah, there are too many questions, Baba. I think let's do Kirtan. What do you say? Yeah, so I wanted that answer. Then we can, talk afterwards. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Ramo Ramo Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Radhe. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम हे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. बोलिए Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama. Once again together, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama. Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे नाम संकीर्तन की समस्त गौर भक्त वृंद की श्रील प्रभुपाद की श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन देव भगवान की इस्कॉन सिलिकॉन वैली यात्रा की All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
His Grace Gaurang Prabhu ki jai.
वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gaurang Prabhu, for giving a valuable time, and we always look forward to ISV. So we are very grateful. Thank you again, Gaurang Prabhu. We really pray and hope that you keep coming to ISV more than once a year maybe, and keep giving your valuable association and Krishna Katha. Hari Bol. The prasadam will be now served in the garage, and devotees can go to the door, and there are two lines. Devotees can just take the prasadam there, and they can sit where if they want. They can sit in the backyard or here in the front yard or here or.
शरीरा विद्या जा जोडेन्द्रियता है का जीवे फैले विषय सागरे तर मध्य जीवायति
લોભમય સુધર્મતી તાકે કઠિન સંસારે કૃષ્ણ બડો દયામય કરી બરે જીવા જોય સ્વપ્રસાદ અન્ન દિલો બાય શ્રેય નામિત પાઓ
શ્રી શ્રી રાધા કૃષ્ણ ગુણ ગાઓ પ્રેમે ડાકો
શ્રી ચૈતન્ય નીતા પ્રેમે ડાકો